What the hell is this game? It looks incredible, is the thought that went through my head as I first loaded up Twin Goddesses and watched the intro text crawl across the screen. What is this? How did I get here? I'm playing through every PS1 game, and depending on the game I'm playing, I kind of arbitrarily choose one of three approaches. The first approach is that I already know what the game is. Either I've played it before or I know enough about it through cultural osmosis, so for me that has been games like Ridge Racer or Myst. The second approach is that I haven't played the game, so I do some research. I look up what the game is, I check the genre, maybe see if I can find an original trailer or something so I know what to expect. I did this for Tama and Parodius. The third and final approach is that sometimes I just pick a game and I go in blind. That's what I did for this game. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what kind of game this is. I don't know the genre. I don't know anything. All I know is the title, Twin Goddesses, and that it was a Japanese exclusive launch title for the PS1. So the game starts, and we see a brief CG intro, and then story text begins to crawl across the screen, and it's wild. And it only gets wilder with each new paragraph revealing itself. Let me try and summarize it quickly. There's a king. His name is Love Radiant. He lives in Love Radiant Castle, in the kingdom of Love Radiant. Everyone loves him, and he loves everyone. Him and his wife have two daughters, Nina and Sillin. Only his wife dies during childbirth, leaving the king to raise the girls alone. Then the evil witch Carmilla arrives and kills the king, and instantly plunges the kingdom into darkness. She banishes the two princesses. Then, for some reason, Zeus, the Greek god of thunder, specifically steps in to bestow the powers of love and courage unto the two girls, so that they might rise up, fight back, and defeat the evil witch. Okay, I am on board. But just to get my hype going even more, the game breaks into a live-action FMV sequence, and it looks amazing. I don't even mean that in a so bad it's good way, I mean that it is fully committing to the bit, and I respect the absolute wild energy of the whole thing. I am ready for this game to live up to the very high expectations that the introduction has just set. And then the game lands on the title screen, and it kicks into this joyful Japanese rock music that I just sit and listen to, staring at this static title text until the whole song is finished. And I still don't even know what the game is. So I choose my character, and it drops me into what looks like an RPG style shop. There's voice acting, which is cool. I'm looking through some of the items that the shopkeeper has, but I can't read Japanese, so all I can really make out of this whole thing is that some of these items affect HP, and some affect MP. I've got 10,000 coins to spend, so I buy this pendant, which costs exactly 10,000 coins. I don't know what it does. Maybe I'll find out. At this point, I'm thinking the game might be some kind of RPG, or maybe a platformer with RPG mechanics. There were a couple of those around at the time, like Gods by the Bitmap brothers. So I press go, game fades to black. Then a fight starts. It's a beat-em-up game, and what the hell is going on? It's some sort of mixed media, CG intro, live action main character, pixel opponent, amalgamation of horror, and it is horrible. I'm fighting this strange pixie character called Elf Ginny, and I get absolutely destroyed. I know I suck at fighting games, but I don't even land a single hit. And we go into round 2 and I get destroyed again. Pure misery. And she taunts me. I cannot be this bad, can I? Every time you lose the game, it hits you with this blaring drum beat. And my god, you better get used to hearing this, because you're going to be hearing this a lot. I go back in for a second try and I'm trying to land some fighting combos that I know, and some of them are working. But the input delay in this game is so bad, and the way your character locks into place during inputs is so bad. It's like the controller is only allowed to register one button press at a time, and each button has an input delay that freezes you still while it decides if it's going to register or not. And half the time it doesn't register, and your opponent, Elf Ginny, is relentless. She crushes me again, and then she taunts me, and then the drums sound out. I will always be the first to admit that I'm not good at fighting games, but when I think about it, I've completed enough of them. When it came out, I was obsessed with the Mortal Kombat trilogy. I completed that. I played Tekken 3 for years, I was fine at that too. I made a whole deal about unlocking every character in the game. I've only just played through Tekken 1 for a video in this series, and I'm not good at fighting games compared to people who play fighting games, but I'm not this bad. And I will question it. I'll ask myself, is it me? Am I the problem? But this time I genuinely think it might be the game. After more than a few attempts, I think this might be one of the worst games I've ever played on the PS1. It might even be one of the worst games I've ever played of all time. The way the characters refuse to react to your inputs and then stumble forwards to make a slow and pathetic attack into thin air just before the opponent dives across the screen to combo you to death in one go, is creating a visceral reaction in the nerve endings of my body that is almost painful. The introduction set such high expectations for what this game would be, and the execution is so thoroughly beyond disappointing that my brain has decided to process this feeling as pain. I tried switching character to see if it made any difference. It didn't. So to free myself of the disappointment of this experience, I just stopped playing it, and I went to do something else. I did a little bit of research just so I could do something other than have to continue experiencing what this game has to offer. I found an old magazine review of the game from Computer and Video Games magazine around the time of its release, where the reviewer rates the game 13 out of 100. I looked through a few copies of this magazine from around that time, and that is by far the lowest score of any game I could find. It wasn't even close. The next lowest scored game I found from them was a 55 for Mickey and Minnie's Great Circus Mystery. It's not just me, this is a bad game. And you know, when I sit down to play these games, I'm not comparing them against contemporary standards or rating them with any sort of metric. I'm happy if I can sit down and find something enjoyable. I'm in this for the experience. So even if I might think that a game is bad, I'm still looking for the things that I can enjoy in it, knowing that I'm going to be sitting with this game until the credits roll anyway. What I found enjoyable in this game was the opening sequence, the delirious storyline and the over-the-top Power Rangers-esque live-action FMV. But in this case, finding enjoyment in those things has only made the crushing realization of how bad this game is feel worse. I'm trying to think of other games that I've played that have been worse than this in terms of how it feels to actually play the game, and I can't think of a single one. There are soulless and generic games that do far less interesting things than what Twin Goddesses tries to do, but at least those games are playable. The game that I previously thought might be the worst game I'd ever played was the 1997 movie tie-in Men in Black game. And right now, I might go and play that game as a palate cleanser to get the taste of this game out of my mouth. I go to sleep, and then I wait for 2 days, and I don't play the game again. And when I finally drag myself back to it, I lose, as I expected to do. I listen to those drums beat to tell me how terrible I am at this game. But then something happens. I'm in a fight, and the fight timer times out. And the game tells me I won. I did it, I won a fight somehow. I didn't beat my opponent, but I still did it. And this Japan rock soundtrack is slamming in the background and it says, "You won." Then my opponent destroys me in the next round and I'm right back to the beginning, but still something's clicked. I go back in once more and I claw through to another victory. I'm staring at the stage select screen and there's a flag that says cleared, and that's it. 1 down, 5 to go. That's all I need to do. So I go into the next fight, and you know what happens? I beat that too. And it didn't even seem very hard. Maybe it was the sleep, maybe I needed that time away for my brain to start forging the neural pathways to figure out how to beat this game. Then it comes to stage 3. It's Elf Ginny. I'm back for revenge, and it's close. We go back and forth. I get a win in round 1. Round 2 is close, but this time Elf Ginny comes up with the win. Goes down to a round 3. And Ginny beats me down to a fraction of my max health, and I'm gonna lose. But I pull out one of the hardest moves to land. It has a huge animation wind up of nearly 3 seconds, and Ginny jumps right into it. I win, and now the drums are on my side. Stage 4 is against Gnome Gom, and things are harder now. He can easily avoid some of my projectile attacks, and his own magic attacks I find really difficult to block or avoid. After a couple of quick losses, I have to spend the first of my 3 credits that the game gives you, and those are my chances to get through the whole game. When those are gone, it is over. It's back to the beginning, and I'd have to go through everything all over again. And honestly, I'm probably not gonna do it if that happens. If I lose now, I think I would probably quit. Back in the fight, Gom beats me down to a sliver of health, but another clutch lightning bolt ends the round in my favour. This lightning bolt move is the MVP of my fights so far. Gom gets round 2, and at this point I realise that he keeps going high but throwing low moves. So I just start jump kicking into him, and it works. I win. More and more, these flags are clearing the stage select screen, and I just have 2 more fights to go. The penultimate fight is against Gold Rush. This guy is fast, and if he pins you against the edge of the screen, it is almost impossible to get out. My first attempt is nothing. He wins every round, and I have to use another credit to keep in the game. At the shop I keep buying the item that increases my max health, but it's sold out now, so with what little money I've got left, I buy 1 potion. It doesn't matter though, Gold Rush decimates me again, and I'm starting to think this might be it. Like, this might be as far as I come. I use my last credit. I can afford 1 more potion, so I pick it up, and we're back in the fight, and I lose. I lose the first round, trapped against the edge of the screen. The second round though, another clutch lightning strike leaves him on a sliver of health, and then I get him. So the third round is even. 1 round apiece, no continues. And I get pinned against the edge, and locked into his combo. It's over. Only for some reason, he backs off for just a second, and it's enough for me to jump out of the corner, hit that potion, and then somehow I get him. I win the fight. And now there's only 1 fight left. It's the final fight against Carmilla. And she's easy. She goes down quickly in round 1. In round 2, things are a little bit more difficult. We both spam out all of our magic power. None of us managed to get a win off the back of that resource expenditure. All of our best moves are used up. I don't have any lightning strikes to clutch a win with. It's down to genuine fight, which is not usually where I'm at my strongest. I'm really nervous as well. I'm on the edge of my seat right now, and I'm playing super defensively. And my thoughts are that if I can just block everything and then counter hit, then I might be okay. But the round times out, and I win. In a weird parallel to the first ever victory I got in this game, the fight ends the same way. A timeout. And I'm fine with that. I'm so fine with it. I put the controller down, and I sit, and I watch the ending because it is finally over. The credits roll, and it's done. The evil queen is now a princess of love, and they all give thanks to Zeus, and I give thanks too. I thank the twin goddesses that I never have to play this game again. Oh, there's one thing that I have to take away from this. The game can suck, and I can suck at the game too. Both of those things can be true. This might be the worst game that I've ever played, but when I look at the list of PS1 games that I've ranked so far, there's a reason why I'm not quite ready to put it in last place. This game hyped me up. I was so on board with the FMVs and the 90s Power Rangers energy and the overly optimistic Japanese TV rock music. The game was beyond bad, but when I finally pushed myself through to finish it, I felt like I had an experience. There was a drama. There was tension in finally getting a win and trying to carry that through to the end. Knowing that if I failed, I'd have to play the worst game I ever played all over again from the beginning, and that also I probably wouldn't do that. I had one chance, and I did it, and that was magic. When I compare that against my experience playing another game like Neketsu Oyako, which mechanically is probably a better game, but I just didn't feel anything playing it. That game was kind of tedious. It was just an exercise of pressing the buttons and holding down the right D-pad to move forwards until the game ended. There was no drama, there was nothing interesting to say about it, and more than that, the game was generic in an uninteresting way. This game isn't generic, it's a mess, but it's not boring. So even though mechanically this might be the worst game I've ever played, I'm not going to put it last. I'm going to put it second from last. I think if I'd stopped, and if I'd not seen it through to the end, then I wouldn't have had the experience that I had, and I probably could have ranked it last. I could be the guy that gives this game 13 out of 100. But that's not what this series is about. It's not about objective metrics or just playing 30 seconds of a game and judging it. It's about finding an experience, and this game had that. Now I can put it away and move on to the next game, whatever that might be. If you watched this video through to the end, thank you. I'm playing through every PS1 game. I'm ranking them as I go, so if you want to see more of that, then please subscribe, and check out the playlist to see more of these videos. I'll see you next time.